It's an enormous weight on a community to have to suffer through gun violence, and that manifests itself more often than not in non-fatal shootings, right? We think the best estimates are for every 5 incidents where somebody is hit with a bullet, one of them might result in a fatal shooting, and the other 4 will be non-fatal shootings.
Non-fatal shootings are never an isolated event. They're a chain reaction. And so what we see is that a victim today can become a shooter tomorrow. And so we need to treat those as the early warnings that they are.
When somebody is shot and you think about the impact, the physical impact, the mental impact, the trauma that they've sustained, the ripple effect of that on the individual and the community is significant. And so the police department, I feel, is obligated and needs to investigate those to a high degree, treating them like failed homicides, providing the same resources to that.
With the amount of demand that is put on police departments, they often have to triage and prioritize where they dedicate their resources. And so even though the difference between a non-fatal shooting and a fatal shooting is really a matter of inches, they oftentimes do not get assigned to homicide squads.
And what we know to date on non-fatal shootings is that we've not been very successful in solving these crimes and delivering justice for victims and the communities in which these crimes occur.
If I want to look up right now what the homicide rate was in a city or the country, I could find that relatively easily. I can maybe even find what it is for a gun homicide rate. Finding a non-fatal shooting rate is actually much harder. We don't actually have the right data oftentimes to track this.
Frankly, it's one of the least studied components of the criminal justice system.
We want to bring together people who are on the front lines of this, either on the research or practice side, to try to come together and solve this.
As a police executive, it's important for me, again, to arm myself with best practices, learn from entities such as Arnold Ventures, partner with researchers and others so we can do better, not only in our agency, but hopefully to be help inform the rest of our colleagues across the nation and other agencies.
Agencies that are starting to treat non-fatal shootings with the same level of resource investment as they do homicides are seeing gains.
Often from a homicide perspective, there's a lot of services as it relates to homicide families. We've really taken a different approach in Indianapolis, and we have 3 advocates that are dedicated just to victim engagement for non-fatal shootings. And what we've seen in the 3 years that we've had the program, we've seen an increase in our clearance rate.
Now, we not only send detectives, but we also send a supervisor. We've also included our Harris County Public Health. It's a collaborative process here. And so working with violence interrupters, it's called the RISE program for relentless interrupters serving everyone. We're able to engage with the community in a separate and unique way, independently from our investigative process. Policing in America, we can't do it alone.
I oversee our non-fatal shoot team, which we call FAST. It's the Firearm Assault Shoot Team. And that's the investigative unit that's responsible for responding and conducting the investigation on any non-fatal shooting that occurs in Denver. The specific approach was a systematic change, a cultural shift for the department to actually treat non-fatals as failed homicides.
Positive change would be for us to take a holistic approach to violence in our community, that we invest not only in enforcement, but also in intervention and prevention, that we're also bringing to the fold other key stakeholders that are community-based.
It is having timely, effective resolution to these cases so we can demonstrate to our community that the police department cares. This is something that we're actively working to resolve, and hopefully that leads to increased community trust.
We want to give people making those decisions the best tools, the best information to make better decisions about how they allocate the finite resources they have so that these crimes can be solved and people can feel safe in their communities.